The moment your life starts improving, some friendships begin feeling strangely heavy. Not because you changed into someone cold, arrogant, selfish, or impossible to love. Because your progress exposes people who only felt comfortable around your struggle. They liked you better when you needed reassurance, advice, rescue, or permission. But the second you start rising, their mask begins slipping in tiny ways. And if you felt confused lately, that confusion probably is not accidental. Fake friends rarely reveal themselves while you're stuck, grieving, broke, or doubting everything. They reveal themselves when your confidence returns and your life stops revolving around them. That is when the smiles feel thinner, the texts slower, and compliments strangely sharp. Most people think success attracts envy only from strangers, competitors, or obvious haters. But some of the deepest jealousy comes from people who called themselves family. And the dangerous part is they still sound supportive on the surface. So by the end, you will stop misreading discomfort as loyalty now. You will see why their energy changed and what your next move is. Here's the first sign, and it usually slips past people completely. They stop celebrating your wins, but they still expect access to you. You get the promotion, the business growth, the healed relationship, the stronger mindset. And suddenly their response sounds flat, delayed, distracted, or weirdly technical to you. They say nice, but their eyes go distant and their warmth disappears. They ask how much, who helped, or whether it will actually last. That reaction matters because real friends feel expanded by your joy, not threatened. Fake friends feel your win as evidence that they are standing still. So instead of joining your joy, they quietly search for flaws immediately. They need your moment to feel smaller because your growth unsettles their identity. This is why their support suddenly sounds like evaluation instead of celebration. Pay attention to emotional temperature, not just the words coming out of them. The second sign is even harder to catch because it arrives disguised as humor. They start teasing the very thing you worked hard to build recently. Your discipline becomes obsession, your confidence becomes ego, your boundaries become attitude. They laugh while saying it, so you feel silly for noticing anything. But that joke is not random, it is a socially acceptable put down. It lets them discharge jealousy without admitting jealousy and test whether you shrink. If you laugh along, they learn your success can be publicly cut down. If you flinch, they call you sensitive and avoid accountability with ease. The point is not comedy, it is control over your confidence level. Real friends can joke, but their jokes never secretly punish your progress. The third sign shows up through absence, not obvious hostility at all. They vanish when you are building, healing, learning, or becoming more focused. They used to message constantly when your life was chaotic and open. But once you get clearer, busier, or emotionally steadier, they fade out. Then they suddenly reappear when they need comfort, access, money, contacts, or attention. That pattern tells you the friendship was built around your availability, not mutual care. Some people do not miss you, they miss your usefulness to them. And when you stop bleeding energy for everyone, they call you distant. You are not distant, you are just no longer easy to drain. The fourth sign is hidden inside fake curiosity and sudden intense interest. When you start winning, they suddenly want every detail of your life. Not because they care deeply, but because information gives them leverage later. They ask who introduced you, what you earn, how you changed, who knows you. They seem fascinated, yet you leave the conversation feeling slightly exposed afterward. That feeling matters, because your nervous system notices motives before your mind does. Fake friends often collect personal details the way insecure people collect weapons. They use your openness later during comparison, gossip, triangulation, or subtle sabotage. They might smile while asking, then mention your private plans to others. They might praise your opportunity, then quietly plan doubt in the room. This is why not every question deserves your full answer these days. Privacy is not secrecy, especially around people whose energy shifts around your progress. The fifth sign is cruel because it happens behind a supportive public mask. In front of others, they clap, compliment, repost, and act incredibly proud. In private, they minimize your effort, question your decisions, or predict failure. They become two different people depending on who is watching them perform. Public kindness protects their image, while private undermining protects their bruised ego. This split confuses you because you keep comparing their public face to private behavior. You think maybe you imagined it because everyone else sees someone generous. But the most dangerous manipulators understand reputation is a shield for them. If they can look supportive publicly, your private pain sounds unbelievable to others. The sixth sign is the one people overlook until real damage appears. They start acting wounded by your growth, as if your progress hurts them personally. They say you changed, you think you're better, you forgot people, you act different. Notice what they are really saying beneath all that emotional static right now. They are admitting your new standard no longer gives them the same access. Your growth forces them to face themselves, and some people resent mirrors. So they pressure you to shrink, reconnect, over-explain, or reassure them again. And if you do, the friendship feels calmer because you abandoned yourself again. Here is the part most people miss, and it changes everything completely. Fake friends do not always want your life. They want your old position. They want you familiar, available, uncertain, forgiving, and slightly beneath your potential. Because that version of you made them feel bigger without doing any work. When you become clearer, harder to guilt, and less easy to manipulate, panic starts. Not always loud panic, but quiet panic hidden inside sarcasm, distance, and weird tension. That is why your success can feel lonelier before it feels peaceful. You are not just gaining things, you are losing distorted relationships too. And some losses hurt, even when they are healthy losses for you. Because betrayal from a fake friend does not feel like ordinary disappointment. It feels like waking up inside a conversation you thought was safe. That is why you replay texts, tones, pauses, and strange little comments. You are trying to locate the exact moment affection turned into competition. And usually it happened when your life stopped giving them an advantage. Now this is where many good people make the mistake that traps them. They start explaining themselves harder, hoping clarity will restore the friendship somehow. They justify their schedule, soften their boundaries, and overprove they still care. They offer extra reassurance to someone already benefiting from their doubt and guilt. But over-explaining to a fake friend only teaches them where your guilt lives. Every long explanation gives them more words to twist later against you. Every emotional defense tells them exactly which button still works on you. Every desperate attempt to be understood keeps you standing inside their frame. And their frame is always designed to keep you proving innocence forever. Power returns when you stop trying to force honest friendship from dishonest energy. That does not mean becoming cold, cruel, paranoid, or allergic to closeness. It means learning to answer patterns, not promises, not words, not history. If someone celebrates you publicly but poisons you privately, believe the pattern. If someone only appears when you are available, believe the pattern immediately. If someone jokes about your growth and calls it honesty, believe the pattern. If someone needs you smaller to feel connected, believe the pattern fully. Patterns remove the fog that charming personalities depend on to keep control. And once you see the pattern, you can respond with calm precision. Sometimes the strongest response is giving less access without giving a speech. Reply later, not instantly, and keep your answers shorter than usual now. Stop handing intimate updates to people who repeatedly handle your vulnerability carelessly. Let silence do some of the sorting that words never finish properly. A simple noted protects your peace better than a 5-minute explanation. I hear you can end the guilt trip without feeding it further. That does not work for me is powerful because it closes negotiation. You can think that is useful when somebody wants control through misinterpretation. Short responses are not rude when the other person profits from confusion. Clarity does not always sound warm, but it often sounds brief instead. Another power move is refusing to perform gratitude for basic respect anymore. Fake friends love when you are thankful for crumbs they should naturally give. They act generous for doing the bare minimum, then invoice your loyalty emotionally. Real friendship does not require self-betrayal as the price of belonging. And once you understand that, guilt starts losing its grip on you. You stop begging to be included by people who enjoy your uncertainty. You stop auditioning for spaces where your absence brings them visible relief. You stop calling jealousy loyalty just because it arrives wrapped in history. And that shift changes everything, because fake friends survive on your hesitation. The longer you doubt yourself, the longer they keep their position secure. The moment you trust your discomfort, their access starts collapsing quickly around you. Because discomfort is often your first honest signal that the relationship changed. Not every uneasy feeling is paranoia, and not every smile means safety. Sometimes your body recognizes envy before your mind permits the truth fully. That tight feeling after sharing good news is not always insecurity either. Sometimes it is your system noticing celebration without warmth, curiosity without care. The goal is not becoming suspicious of everyone who asks a question. The goal is becoming observant enough to stop abandoning your own perception. Healthy friends feel safe to win around because your light does not threaten them. They may feel challenged sometimes, but they still want your expansion anyway. They do not punish your success by withholding warmth, connection, honesty, or peace. They do not compete with your healing or secretly celebrate your setbacks. And they never make you feel guilty for becoming harder to misuse. If someone does, believe what your life is showing you now clearly. You are not losing people because success made you difficult to love. You are losing access points for people who bonded with your self-doubt. That is painful, but it is also a form of protection too. Because every fake friend you clearly see becomes one less hidden drain. One less person studying your joy to figure out where to puncture it. One less voice teaching you to apologize for your growth ever again. One less relationship that only worked when you were available for emotional extraction. And more room for people who can clap without secretly counting costs. More room for honesty without performance, support without envy, and closeness without control. More room for a calmer life that does not punish you for rising. So if certain friendships feel stranger now, do not ignore that shift. Your winning did not create their character, it revealed it under pressure. And that revelation, painful as it is, can save you years later. You do not need dramatic endings to outgrow dishonest friendships for good. You need clear eyes, less explaining, stronger privacy, and quieter boundaries daily. Let them misunderstand the version of you they can no longer use. Let them call you different if different means finally being self-respecting. Let them feel the distance created by the access they repeatedly misused. Because peace is not losing when it costs manipulative people a front row seat. It is the moment your life stops being emotionally available for quiet sabotage. And once you feel that difference, you will never confuse access with friendship again.